Welcome to CathyDSlaught's SRC4u Zoom call for April 18th, 2022. We're here on Cathy's website, CathyDSlaght.com, and to access the Zoom call, we're going to scroll down, look here, and you click here. And if you would like to be part of Cathy's SRC4u Daily Energy Clearing Group, the information's here to register. Now, this is an SRC4u software demonstration. If you'd like to purchase the software, ask Cathy. If you'd like to demo it, there's a free demo. But if you're really interested in the software, but you're not ready to purchase it, join the Daily Energy Clearing Group. We're going to proceed on over to the Zoom call where it will be live and it will be loud. So you may want to lower the volume on your speakers.
I'll tell you, this update that we have is so phenomenal. And it does seem that the more you work with it, the more impressed at least I am. But we still do have some extra things we should do, and a lot of times that Excel spreadsheet comes in handy. Now, what I'm seeing, it's not quite time yet, but what I'm seeing is we run for days, not just we, but individuals, because what happens is, and I stopped us to do some things here today, but then we'll check again. It just adds on more themes and goes and goes and goes. So you might even have people, depending on their level of stress, that go 4 or 5 days, all from the first startup session. I'm thrilled with it. And it does look like there's a few things we need to add from time to time, depending. But for example, today we wanted the discarnate scan, and I had a couple sessions earlier today, and everybody so far has wanted this discarnate scan. I don't know if it's because it was Easter, or we just ate a lot of sugar, or what at full moon Saturday, I don't know, but that did not was not any different for us today. We wanted the discarnate scan, and it's all very subtle energy. We don't need to dwell on it, but I do have it added in here to go to our etheric field.
I have a question. I never thought about it until you just mentioned it just now. Going to the thrift shops, I wonder if it's possible to pick up discarnates.
Oh, anywhere. Yeah, you can be in the grocery store, depending on your kind of energy. Some people are extremely empathic. I don't know, but yeah, anywhere. Just like anything, you can pick up the flu when you haven't been out of your house except to go to the grocery store. So let me show you where we are right now. Let's just take that preserve theme off in case we are done with it. But what you can do, we did not want the SRC startup scan, but what you can do is go in here now and see how we're doing. If we need any extra reinforcement, press, plated, liver. So we thought this might be something. So we pull up our Pro Tool selector. Here's what we've asked for. We've got that information now. You know, might want to check out some supplements, etc. Do a little extra drinking of water. Let's see. Let's do clear liver related stress. Yes, there. Yeah. Okay. So let's go in there. You notice user selection Q&A. What will happen is that will give you the percentage clearing. And so, for example, when this ends, if it's not 100%, we just click it again. Let's see what else we've got. Deficiencies and weaknesses, blood heat, Western pathogens. Been seeing a lot of stress related to infection and pathogens, and I don't know if it's just on our mind or what. Let's just do stress related. Okay, well, we're bringing that down. That's been higher. Stress related to blood, deficient blood, parathyroid glands, pineal. Let's just put we've got some interesting stress there, interesting things going on. And even though we haven't requested the recharger, let's check anyway, and let's just see balance, type. By the way, I didn't send anything out Friday because we didn't have that much to see. No use to clog up our email. So we get a bit longer one today. No, not necessary. Let's just look. Yeah, we'll take a little recharger. Two hours. So what's, in my opinion anyway, what's happening is this is getting easier and easier to get to the point, which might let you do a few more things on a more of a manifestation level, spiritual level, which is where we're going. Okay, we're coming down with that. Stress related to emotions. Does anybody ever listen to Gene Decode?
Yes.
Anybody?
Yeah.
He talks a lot, and look at that. Oh my goodness. He talks about the negative energies are actually fed by our emotions. So
Right.
they coordinate, and I believe that. Yeah, they coordinate. They coordinate events to bring out hate or fear or anything else, because that's even at a football game when people are screaming. That's all feeding, according to him, these non-beneficial energies. So again, let's just, I don't really like, I'll pull up a fresh prayer warrior. I don't like to show everybody everything going on in there. Prayer warrior, probably the rest of you are the same way. It just goes all the time. Let me just see how I want to put I'm just going to put negativity in many forms. And for now, just get this started. Taking a bit of time.
So what file do you put all these in that you share, Cathy? Is it a separate file in your pictures folder or?
All these what that I share?
All these different screens that you bring up and share here.
I don't know that I put them in. If I send the notes out, the notes every day, and I just have a bunch of Word documents. I'm not that sophisticated with that part of it.
I just meant for being able to do something like this where you get to teach.
It's just a Zoom. It's just a Zoom file. I mean, I just go on Zoom and do it. Personally, there's no special file for me. There could be, and be wise probably, but I haven't done it.
Okay.
I just follow intuition. Never try to make anyone like yourself, and God knows that one of you is enough. That's weird. But we are, each of us is our own snowflake. And we're wanting to up our life force. Let's just put in here optimal cellular voltage, because that's the key. There is a code for it, but I don't have it by heart. Let's just amp that up. We see a little stress with that. I don't know. Let's see if I can pull up the healing numbers here. I think I can. Okay, there we go with that code. That's an interesting thing, too. It shows the code does seem to offer additional benefit. It's interesting. So that's where we are now. Let me show you. I'm continuing to look at that book, Owner's Manual of the Brain, and just when I think it's getting very tedious, it comes up with some real interesting information. But first, got some interesting notes just from over the weekend. I'm going to send some codes out if anybody's interested.
Make it bigger?
Yes. How's that? This predatory mindset, which many have, and they wouldn't consider themselves predators. But the predatory mindset is you better make sure you get yours, whether it be basics like basic needs or other things. And it doesn't bring any benefit. So let's just look where we are and see if we want to do that as a group. No, we don't need to do it as a group, but that was mentioned in something I was listening to, and it was interesting. There is some talk about, and that is apparently how you spell Merkabit, but the Merkabit field is a bunch of geometric shapes around us that, it's worth more study, but not at this point. And it seems that for some people it's been locked. I found that interesting, and there was a code for it. There was a code for disassembling the inversion matrix. In other words, how we talked about before, that it's getting to where almost anything you're told, look for the opposite in truth. It's the darndest thing. So there was a code for this. I did not yet find a decalcification of the third eye or the pineal code. In touch with divine source. This was one area, racial tension and sexual confusion, that apparently some strings are being pulled to create that. And then this was a little fun reveal who's pulling the strings of the people of planet Earth. This massive wealth thing, they're fussing now about what's his name wanting to buy Twitter because he's so wealthy. I suggest people look at the wealth of the people who run all of our things, Amazon, Google. Look at that, Facebook, etc. Look at the massive wealth of who already was running Twitter. So I think that's one thing we do not realize, is that just about anything we're getting in the way of information is probably coming, if it's mainstream, from these people of massive wealth. Nothing wrong with massive wealth unless it's coming from a predatory energy. Vaporize the blue pill, that just comes from Matrix, and there was a code for it. This one, I sent this one to us this weekend. Elevate the vibration of planet Earth to compassion, service, and love. That seems to be the key. And let's just see if now there's a code.
Cathy, what causes the decalcification of the third eye?
Well, some of these people on here probably have more information. To me, it seems to be our water. But any other thoughts on that with this group?
I kind of think it's everything. I think it's the radiation, and I think it's the EMF. I mean, I think it's I think all of it's kind of a targeted focus.
Yeah, and I know they sell supplements and such to clear that. I don't know the answer, but yeah, I think so. And you know, that third eye, that's a bigger deal. Pardon?
Listening to that third eye.
What's that?
I think it's also the calcification is because people aren't listening to the knowledge of the third eye.
You don't use it, you lose it. Wow. Yeah, because the pine cone represents the third eye. And look at all the statues, like around the Vatican, etc., with all these pine cones. So it's, you know, the ancient minds understood the significance. So yeah, you might be right. We're just not following our intuition. This one I thought interesting. Free the mind and find out the truth for yourself. Nobody can tell anybody else. You got to do your own research.
I just saw something about the story of Pinocchio being the third eye.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Pin is pineal, and Occhio is ocular.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. That's very interesting. Thank you. Now this one, I like this. Establish the best possible psychophysical environment for staying physically and mentally healthy. When I got back into the owner's manual, which, have I mentioned, is rather tedious, but yet it does have good information. What they're talking about is that maybe not so much anymore, but we have separated mental and physical to some extent and not realizing it's all together. And so it started out, it mentioned weight control, up proteins, back off carbohydrates. Okay, we got that. And it talked about free radicals. And what's happening, of course, free radicals are molecules with just one electron, and they're supposed to be paired. And what they do is they go around and grab electrons from the mitochondria of the cell nuclei, and in the event, not only bring about illness, but they also destroy the DNA through aging, accelerating angels. So here's a code, because what happens is the free radicals are bound by certain antioxidants, like, for example, here's vitamin C, here's carotene. I'll just send this out for y'all. But what they mention also is we're probably taking too many supplements, and we need to get more food. Even it's hard to find the concentrated food, but they do encourage to get your antioxidants in as much natural form as possible. And see where we are as a group with that.
Stephen made mention last week of a gentleman that only drinks water and supplements. It would be kind of interesting to know what he considers for supplements.
Oh no, he takes you mean what energy he takes for supplements?
Yeah.
He uses Raymond Grace, and he just says what supplements I need today.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he just spins his pendulum over the water, and it'll go negative because it'll always take out what's bad first. So it'll go spin counterclockwise, and then once it starts, it'll go clockwise.
You know, there wouldn't be anything wrong with any of us doing that, would there? Even if we took a few supplements along with it, yeah.
The interesting thing is, the only thing he needs extra is something with salt.
Yes.
So he is pulled to like potato chips
Oh, well, that's interesting. I thought you were going to say a little pinch of Himalayan salt, but he stayed in good health.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And his mind is sharp.
Wow. Now this is from the other day, so it'll go out today. It just wasn't enough information to send out. But this is just a list also then the owner's manual had as to how to not age in an accelerated fashion. So, of course, stop smoking was at the top. They recommend weight-bearing exercises. They say don't depend on any particular food, drug, or chemical to promote longevity. In other words, it is probably in our thought process, normal blood pressure, balanced blood sugar, avoid a sedentary lifestyle. It looks like one of the worst things we can do is retire. Practice balancing daily. He's talking actually about standing on one foot in balance every day. Obviously, reduce stress. Stay curious. And one thing that really helps with that is not just the internet, but even books and gadgets like little computers. Don't worry about becoming senile. Keep working. Minimize spare time. Avoid excessive use of alcohol. Crossword puzzles was actually a big deal. New skills and knowledge. Write your autobiography. And again, that alcohol thing comes up. Engage in many diverse kinds of activities with other people. That's one of the things, the isolation. And I talked with several people that over Easter that they had no social activity. So this is how we need to look and maybe get together with other people and have our own groups. If you live alone, get a pet. There's the internet information. All these games. Sense of humor was huge. Maintain friendships, develop new ones. Moderate caloric activity. And this is actually DHEA, but it didn't have that. It had the full name. And so you might want to check that out. We can look at us as a group to see if this would be a good thing. But there's plenty of information online, and it does seem to have some benefit. Let's just look for us. Won't hurt to douse it up. So then we get into the next phase of what we're talking about, which is literally mental disorders. And we know the pharmaceuticals are making a fortune off different medications for this. And you can see it says 1/5 of Americans have a mental disorder in a given year. Half have at least once in a lifetime. In the treatment, they're making a fortune, an absolute fortune.
Well, the other thing I'm witnessing, because I have people in that field now that are around me, is first of all, they're targeting young kids for anxiety.
Yes.
And the other thing is the corporations are coming in and taking over everything. Mm-hmm. So that it's one big corporation that's going to be running anything like for the homeless, for all the different ways that they're supporting people. It's frightening, actually. It's really
well. But we, as a group, as a collective, see, this is the thing. That's 1%. That's 1%. We can change that. I was out with someone this weekend, and she looked around and she said, "Look at all these people. They have no idea what's coming." I said, "We can change that." What happens? We have so many different timelines, and it's our thoughts that actually put us in particular timelines. It's wild when you really look at the quantum stuff. So like Annie says, we got to be aware of this corporate stuff. This is serious stuff. It's like in San Francisco, the social worker who ran for mayor against London Breed and got absolutely no press, absolutely none. She was able to disclose where the huge tax money was going. It was not going to the homeless. It was going to the elected officials running the homeless programs. The more we see that, I believe anyway, I don't want to be a Pollyanna, but we have the power to change it if we will work together. That's one of the, yeah.
And I think we are. I mean, I don't even think it's just a can. I think just because of all the mess, I just think this is the last vestiges that we're seeing where they just keep doing their squeeze play on everything that they can do a squeeze play on. It's just so fascinating to watch it. Like it's overnight taking over. I'm like, wow.
Well, I think we're just seeing it. I think this has been a long time in progress. But yeah, it's gotten out of hand. They're just not shy about it, are they?
Oh, and it literally happens within like a 2-week span. Like it's like all of a sudden, oh, by the way, we've been bought out, you know, and it's, wow.
Yeah, no, we have to be aware. It's like that truck coming, and it's a pretty big truck, and we have to be sure that we step away and tell others about the truck, etc. So yeah, thank you. Lots to think about. Jimmy Dore, I've been mentioning him a lot because I get tickled at him. He started out as a comic, and I like a good comedian. But he talked about last week when the 4th booster was approved. A couple of fairly high-ranking FDA officials quit, and they made statements. And the essence of the statements were, this FDA no longer works for the people. There is no science to support these boosters. So look it up for yourself. It was on Jimmy Dore. And but so going on here, when you're working, and if we're going to focus on anxiety, it's funny Annie mentioned that because that is going to be our focus. But you could scan this if you have someone going through particular stress. Just remember, it's going to be both. What they have as far as causes, they have found, for example, when your immune system starts to shut down, it affects the brain. When the brain starts having some erratic behavior, it affects the immune. It's all one. You can't just say, for example, take some Prozac, because it could actually be coming from the immune system. It could be coming from blood sugar, etc. It has to all come together. That's what this is right here. Neuroimmunology. That's where they have realized it's all together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about I was going to ask, what about Alzheimer's disease?
All of it's in here. Yeah, Alzheimer's is a factor. Radiation is in reference to the Alzheimer's. Yes, you can see, of course.
I got a brother-in-law with that.
Well, I'm no expert on it other than this work we've done here, but isn't it diabetes 3? Doesn't the blood sugar have a huge impact? I believe it does. And Ron, we have that scan. I sent it out, but I'll send it to you again individually for the brain and Alzheimer's.
And I had somebody share something interesting the other day, that they found that when people develop cancer, if you look through their past, they've had a serious loss of somebody very dear to them. Yes, that is 100%. Mark Tong writes about that. And of course, the other thing too, we don't know when that abnormal cell process begins. So they may look and say, well, 30 days ago, it might be 10 years ago. But yes, that's what I've read too. So it looks like so far these codes are a benefit.
Something else that comes up in my mind is the fact that somebody was writing over the weekend on Facebook about cancer, and talking about how many people and all that have it. The thing about it is that, when you give all this money to cancer, and you're making donations, and I can remember as a little boy selling flowers for the cancer. So what in the world have they done all this time?
Well, you see a lot of 3-piece, good expensive suits among the people collecting the money. I can't tell you, but I just know that my mother died of cancer. And at that time, someone came to the door to see her. I was up there with her. And they said, I know there's a cure for this. They just don't want to give it because of the money. And I thought they were a nut. However, at that time, we had one floor on this was in the 90s, one floor in that hospital. And we see now, of course, we have so many hospitals entirely devoted. And we would be naive not to realize somebody somewhere is profiting.
That's right, exactly.
There's
Yeah.
a movie called Pink Ribbons. It talks about cancer and how it all started with Charlotte Haley, and she had a salmon-colored ribbon. And anyways, these corporations approached her, and she wouldn't sell her pink ribbon to them. So they went to the attorneys, did some marketing, and found out the color pink and how popular it is. And so what did they do? They turned it into a marketing concept.
Yeah, no, and same way with diabetes. That's hugely profitable, but if you are lucky enough to find it, you will see that in 1954, a scientist wrote about that and a mineral that people needed to prevent diabetes, and that was pulled off the market, but it is findable. I believe the mineral was chromium. And this is not to say you go in and take chromium and it does all these miracles, but the fact that he wrote about this and it was censored is very interesting. So anyway, I just put this in here as a frame of reference. We see cells of the immune system can produce hormones in the brain. They have the same receptors as brain cells. So they're actually, we've got our eyes and our ears getting this information to the brain. Our immune systems are also like sensory organs. So with that in mind, there's a feedback, and I didn't see a code yet. Let's just see. Sometimes this healing numbers group, you ask for something and they'll come in later. Nope, not got it. But let's just, it's like a loop of information that goes back and forth between the two, which means if a person, this is just my own interpretation, is, say, suffering from depression, you might want to get a good physical checkup. Okay, so that's a good thing to do that. With that in mind, let's just look. $15, so let's send that energy, solitary. Beneficial mind control of immune cell levels. So see, it works the other way as well. We can, with our thoughts, perhaps control our immune system. I know people have talked about that with their mental images, little white blood cells killing off the germs. Okay, so again, positive thing. And then just a few other things that I added, that you can have this information. Look at this, wish to be cured, because you will, unfortunately, this can be well below consciousness, that the person maybe has given up, or maybe they get some extra payoff from being ill. So you can work and pray and do everything in the world, and if the person really doesn't want to be cured, you may be out of luck, short of an absolute miracle. And then all of us have to take an active role in our own healing process. So I know you all have experienced this. You work with people, and there are just little things they could do, like maybe drink more water. They're not going to do it. So again, that's going to be something to be aware of.
This was so profound when I had heard this.
It looks like we as a group even could do a little more.
Yeah, I agree on that too.
This was so profound when I heard this, but that we heal while we sleep. And then the next thing I learned was we can put ourselves like in a white, or around us like a rectangular box, I guess. Anyways, and we can heal ourselves. So I'm just like, I'm so like blown away by all that.
Yeah. Back to the healing yourself at night. So true. That's why with the radiation, they say to put your Wi-Fi on a lamp timer and turn it off.
And don't forget a little frankincense on the crown, they say, is powerful. All of that. Yeah, that's why we need our sleep. So again, viruses, obviously. This is also something interesting, the perceived quantity and severity of stressors compared to the actual. So I don't know if you all have seen this or not, but people living phenomenal lives, and yet the least little thing can put them into such a state that they become ill. So there is something to think about here. For example, in our country, I think a lot of people don't really realize what's going on in other parts of the world. And so if they don't, and they look around and they're like, oh, poor me, they could create mental or physical illness. And then and then belief in coping skills and the areas they said of coping. First, knowledge. Get as much knowledge as possible. Optimism. They're not saying optimism is going to take away the problem, but it's going to raise your cellular voltage for sure, which can lead to that. Social support and spirituality. So again, let's just do a little scan of this whole list and just see where we as a group are right now. So ours is social support. So it may be that a number of us are isolated, and that does happen, especially lately. I talked with someone yesterday that still doesn't want to go anywhere. She's so afraid of COVID, and yet she is vaccinated with 2 boosters. So, you know.
Wow, I haven't met anybody with the second booster yet. Wow.
Oh, yeah. So that we have the potential here. See, this is one we can fix. At this present time, we're not where we want to be, but look, it goes all the way. So that, again, maybe some organizations to join, or sit out on the corner with a good book and read or something. Too many of us are isolated, and we need to get out and have social connections. And there is actually an electricity that exchanges among us when we do that.
I'll put this out there. Anytime anybody wants to do a Zoom call, I'll facilitate it.
Great. Now what we've got here, then finally, and I thought we'd look today and see, we have some anxiety cocktails in the SRC already. We're going to go more into anxiety tomorrow. Let's just see, is it a priority for our Qi today, or have we done enough? Well, look at that. Yeah, we want an anxiety cocktail. What I think I'm going to do is see if we can incorporate those in the Pro Tools. Where'd we go? Okay, so we start out with the Prayer Warrior, which we have running. Let's see. Let me try something with the field generator. No, don't want it. That's kind of a puzzle. I wouldn't think we'd want to put a field around us of anxiety. So let's look and see. And if y'all get any inspiration, please call it out. Let's see what we've got. How about a better world? Does that make sense? Since some of that anxiety. See, this is the problem I'm having, Kevin.
Yeah, that's good.
These aren't loading, though. Well, maybe, no, see, they're not loading. Now here's the copy. And that looks like maybe that's loading. All right, well, that's interesting. The copies load, but not the, 22 hours on a better world. So maybe that relates to anxiety. Let me see what else we've got. Let's see where okay, so here now, just to show you quickly, this is, excuse me, liver-related stress. We did one yes therapy. Let's go down to the bottom now. See, we're still at a 99, so let's start that again. We want to get up to 100. Let's just get back up here. Let's do anxiety, irritability, restlessness, insomnia. And let's look again at that through the prayer warrior. And you don't have to do it this way, but no, that's not our best approach. Let's see what else we got here. Yes, therapy might do it. Well, then that's not going to take a cocktail. Let's look at the super clear. Or actually, we can supercharge your positive information is to clear that. Okay, so that's what we want. Let's just go in here. I don't think that's loaded in there now. Let's just look. No, so. Yeah, see, this is what's happening, Kevin, that these are not loading, so I'll get with you at whatever was done with the update. I'll have to do that one later once Kevin and I talk. But you get the idea. Let's see. Got a Bible verse for anxiety. No, let's see if we just want that through the P4. Yeah, 100%. Look at that. Yeah, see, they're not loading, so I guess I'll be talking with you sooner than later. But then I'll catch all this up once we get this rectified. Meanwhile, let's just go in here. Just put it in the acupuncture, if we can. No, okay, so I have a little work left to do, but you get the idea where we are with that. And what you can do over and above. So, anything else to add?
Yes. Is there an existing cocktail, or is it even possible to take into account all the negativity that planet Earth people and plants and such are going through, and send back love to counteract that? What do we have?
Well, I have a bunch of statements on another computer.
Grace.
And oh yeah, there's so much out there with Raymond Grace as well. And I'll bring in some statements from the other computer. I get together with two other people, and we kind of go over these statements. And that's exactly what you want to do is send it back with you can do 528 hertz, or you can Christ consciousness, depending. And we have this one. This was a while back. I may not be able to find it right now, but it's again I've got it. But we had that one that if we even just chanted that code as a group, I'm not talking about necessarily all together in some sort of ritual type thing, but just during the day while you're driving, while you're walking, if you have a few little quiet time moments, it was a 95% benefit to repeat that code. I don't like that term chanting, but that's basically what it is. I'll find that and put it at the top of our list also. But that's in our work. There's so much. I like that idea, Stephen.
can we put that in the prayer warrior as the
Absolutely.
always on?
Yes, absolutely.
As, and that way, if we're all doing it,
yes,
and it's always on,
could be powerful. We'll
could
check.
be.
I can't remember the code name, or I might have it in my phone. I'm not going to take your time now on that, but let's do that for sure tomorrow. The only thing I'm thinking of with the prayer warrior being on all the time is we might adapt. It seems like our system, if we do something, even supplements or whatever, sometimes we need to take a break.
Yes.
That's the only, but we can test that. We can continue to test that with the pendulum or our dowser or whatever way we want to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else?
Yeah, while we were talking in the dispenser, I just put whatever I need today, and it was really different than usual.
Really? What?
When I put symptoms, I just put whatever I need today. Usually it's only picking one or two things. Boy, you went to town on me. And longer than usual, too.
Whoa, that is wonderful, and I love that pendulum thing that Mary shared. I didn't know how Raymond Grace did that, but I have gotten my pendulum out. I do want to start working with it more, and I think that supplement thing is the first place I'm going to start.
And I wanted to bring up when Stephen brought that up, because LOVE keeps coming back to me, because when I get so consumed with so much love, like this morning, I'm sending it to the group. Now I'll finish off by just going and putting my hands on the ground, and it aligns everything up, so it's like, but it's like, I don't know what is going on with me, but just this consuming heart love just keeps coming up for me, and I just keep putting my hands on the earth and hoping it helps. So just throw that out there.
Well, yeah, I think that our voltage is accelerating, and one of the reasons is all the knowledge available, which is creating a better communication between our brain cells. And there's so much happening, and it's good. It's positive. So we do have a few things we want to work on, but we know that we need to work on, if that makes any sense. We're aware. So, and I like what Annie said a while back. We actually need to thank everything going on, because it may have brought some strengths out in us that we didn't know we had. We might not have found it any other way.
And then
I'm also doing something really neat at night now. Started journaling to my chakras, because our chakras are sentient, and it is absolutely the most lovely thing I can recommend to do, because when you speak to them and write to them, it's really cool to understand and be grateful for every chakra and what they've done to get us to here and now. So it's almost like it does become more real, and it's just neat to see what comes out of you and to really grasp how much gratitude we have for each of our chakras.
I love that. Where did you figure that out?
It came through my channeling. They recommended it to me, because the other day all my chakras were blue, and I'm like, what the heck is that about? And they basically said we're just doing some new things, because there's so many new energies coming in, and this is what's going to happen. And they wanted the chakras to just witness what it would be like to be a different color, and then go back, of course, to the colors they're supposed to be. And it was fascinating, because what it did, it's almost like it jarred us. It's just like when you went through what you went through with that healing crisis, Cathy, how different you became as a result of going through that experience. It's almost like they did the same thing to my chakras. But it's real. I can't even tell you, it makes you love your vessel so much more than you already do, but it's just really cool.
And one of the things they say, those who study this kind of thing, is that we have all this information around us, and there are different energies out there wanting to whittle that down so we can't pull it in. And what they say opens us up to that energy is our chakras.
Wow.
So there's a lot of merit to that.
And remembering,
it's fun. It's so fun.
And remembering what Sharon brought. I am grateful. I am thankful. I am ... I love that. I use it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, I love it too. I like that I do not consent as well, that Sharon mentioned.
Yeah.
So, okay. Anything else?
Nope. Have a great day, cool group of people that come together with Cathy Zoom.
Love
See you
all.
tomorrow.
Everybody have one.
Yeah.
Blessings to
Bye.
all.
Thank you.
Includes Cathy's SRC4u Zoom call demonstrating the SRC4u software and just us getting together and enjoying community. So thank you for participating. We look forward to seeing you again. Till then, take care and be well. YouTube disclaimer, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only.